In Georgia is the congressman from Georgia, Rich McCormick. Congressman, thanks for coming on. Good to see you today.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Yeah, so the damage just throughout the entire South is it's heartbreaking. I don't know what else to say. You know, people have died. What's happening in Georgia? What needs to happen? What help do the people there need? We'll start there.
There's a lot of overwhelming problems going on right now. You have flooding still. People's houses are destroyed. You have a lack of electricity to about 500,000 people. You have widespread problems with potable water and, of course, internet. And to top that off, a lot of bad people are taking advantage of this by looting, and that's been a real problem. As a matter of fact, my sheriff's department just sent down 2 15-man teams to help prosecute people and capture people who are taking advantage of this in various ways.
Congressman, I understand in your district, the damage isn't as bad as it is, say, in Asheville, North Carolina, other areas in Georgia. But again, just simply you saying that people are looting, that people are taking advantage of other people's losses is just so sad and disappointing to hear. But what also may be disappointing to many people is that it took a few days for the vice president and the president to actually come to survey the damage. Do you think that Kamala Harris's survey today, surveying the damage in Georgia, is too late? I'm kind of thinking it's like, probably $1 billion and a day short.
This should surprise no one. If you look at their response to anything, I mean, Kamala was the border czar. She never went down to visit the border until all of a sudden she was running for president and decided it was going to be an issue. Even then, she's not going to do anything about it. That's all words. She obviously didn't intend to do anything when up to 15 million people crossed the border, and they didn't care. Quite frankly, if you look what's happening with the port strike, once again, not getting involved, even though it's going to really hamstring us going into the holiday season. They're just slow, always way late on their response, always reacting rather than being proactive. This should surprise no one. This is just how they govern.
Congressman, I think a visit, especially like the one from President Trump, I personally have covered major flooding events like this in the past. And everything's gone in some of these towns. I mean, businesses, homes, kids aren't going to be able to go to school. You can't even live your way of life. And it lasts for quite a while. We'll report on this in the news for weeks to come. But then, these people, they got to continue this. FEMA will have to come in. Everyone's going to try and get money. It'll never be enough here. To have your leader of your country or leaders come in and just show morale, sympathize with you, to say, hey, we're going to have your back throughout this entire process. It's going to take a long time. I think that's where Kamala Harris doesn't show up. That's where you miss the mark, and people are going to remember that.
Yeah, people always understand when you care. They always understand how you can draw attention to something. Even back in the Calvin Coolidge days, he didn't use the government to bail people out, but he used the bully pulpit to bring the Red Cross to bear. He made sure that people got involved philanthropically. He made sure that people were actually aware. And because, quite frankly, the people are still where the power is. When you have the philanthropic efforts of churches and communities and fellow districts contributing, that's going to be way more powerful than any FEMA government agency that's slow reacting and has no accountability. This is about us as a team, and this administration has no idea how to build a team effort, no matter what they do.
Congressman, I want to ask you about the ongoing dock workers strike in the second day. I know that there was a lot of picketing happening in Savannah, Georgia today, but also simultaneously people in that area in your state just begging for fresh water, begging for supplies, for baby formula, for pet supplies and things. It also, when you mention the looting, it makes me concerned that I understand people are allowed to strike, but at the same time now, wouldn't it potentially be better to just lend a hand to your fellow Americans? This is only
of course
hurting
it would. And I
those people.
appeal to those people that are on strike right now to do the right thing, but also appeal to the administration, get involved. This is a critical time in history, not just for the nation, but for Georgians who are suffering dramatically. If you don't have those formula, if you don't have the supplies, if you don't have the ability to sustain an economy, it's going to have a ripple effect in Georgia that hasn't been seen in a very long time. It should be one team, one fight, use the bully pulpit, use the power of the federal government, use whatever means possible to make our lives better. That's the charge we give our government.
We certainly hope it doesn't continue on for several days. We heard it could be very costly, very detrimental.
$5 billion a day.
Yeah. Okay. Congressman Rich McCormick, always good to see you.
Thanks. Good to see you guys, too. Separate bye.
Thank you.